This program is part of the Cosmic Potato Podcast Network. For more shows like this, visit our website at cosmicpotatonetwork.com.
Watching television, watching television. Watching television, watching television. I need all the image, I need all the sound. I know the info right into my mind.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Trial by Pilot. This is the show where we judge an entire series of television and the work of hundreds on one episode. I'm Bill Lynch.
I'm Casey Lynch.
And I'm Mike Olsvay.
Back again.
Yeah, baby.
Ooh, look who's back.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that.
You're not? You just did it. Are you going to cut that?
Cut it.
We'll get flagged for that.
Elizabeth and I were trying to figure out what shows to do next. I said, well, we have to do Loki because Disney Plus shows are huge, MCU.
Yeah.
And she did not want to do it.
What? What is she, sick of superhero crap already, or what?
But you know, she said yes, she's sick of superhero
Yeah,
crap
of course.
already.
Of course. She said that months and months ago.
Like, she watched WandaVision, loved it, loved the whole series.
Sure.
You know, it got a little superhero at the end.
Yeah, of
but
course.
It was really good. We did the pilot to Falcon and Winter Soldier. Did you guys watch these?
Yeah, I watched Falcon Winter
I
Soldier.
saw a bit of the
Yeah.
pilot. Not interested.
She didn't continue with that one.
Yeah.
We just watched the pilot. I watched the whole thing.
Really?
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
It's only 6 episodes.
Yeah, but like...
So it was pretty standard.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I don't need to see this.
Yeah. But I mean, like, the action was good.
Yeah.
The storyline was good. There was nothing
Okay.
wrong with it. It just wasn't, like, as unique as WandaVision was.
Yeah.
Well, it was nice because I just came off of WandaVision with like how like weird and unique that was, and
Yeah.
then jumping into that, it's like, oh look, that's just standard
Back to
superhero
action.
beat 'em up. Like,
Yeah,
this
right.
is what I could use after having that.
Right.
Yeah.
So she didn't want to do this, and I thought, I have you guys on only for nerdy superhero shit, but never an MCU show.
That's true.
So
Yeah.
we're going to talk about Loki today.
Loki.
And actually, this is a weekly release.
A what?
Weekly release.
I was like, did he make a mistake or did
See,
I hear
Elizabeth
something
wouldn't
wrong?
have picked up on that and made fun of me, so I appreciate it.
Yeah. Oh, what? Weekly?
Weekly release.
Yeah.
Which I like, because I don't have time to binge 10 episodes of something.
I hate it.
I like it. Make me wait. Because also, it's good for the podcast, because
Oh, yeah.
if something's on Netflix, like by the time we get our show up, everyone's already binged it.
They've already seen the whole
Binge
thing
through
instead of
the
like, oh, we've seen episode 1 and 2
Yeah.
instead of like
So this episode
12.
will come out before episode 2 even airs. So we
Ooh,
are
nice.
on top of it.
Okay, good.
So, Casey, you have not watched all the MCU stuff.
All of it? No. I've seen most of it. I didn't
of it.
see like the Thor movies, like the first 1 and 2. I think I didn't see like the first or like the second Iron Man.
Okay.
The TV shows I haven't seen other
Yeah,
than
me neither.
WandaVision 1 episode. Yeah, I haven't seen any other stuff though.
What about you, Mike?
I've watched pretty much all of it.
Yeah.
The only thing I didn't continue with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I watched that for like 2 seasons, and then I just lost interest in it. But
Yeah.
everything else I've watched.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't watch any of the TV before WandaVision, but I watched the last 2 shows, and then I've seen all the movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even Thor Dark World?
I even watched Thor.
Yeah,
Dark
you
World.
really?
Thor Dark
Oh,
World,
wow.
yeah.
No, a couple years ago, I hadn't seen almost any of the movies.
Yeah.
And I think I was like sick with the flu or
Oh, they're
something.
gonna say I was like 16. Like, what? What are you talking
I was like
about?
16
Well, I
like
said
2
a couple years
A couple
ago.
years ago when I was 16.
Yeah. And so I just went through and I watched every single one over the span
Yeah.
of like a week or 2.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, some of them are better than others, but for the most part, they're pretty good to really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I find like the earlier ones are so similar. It's like, okay, they're fine to watch, but
Sure.
I don't need to watch them. I'm not
Yeah.
like missing anything by not knowing like that Thor punches a dark elf in the head or something.
I think the whole thing is like comparing like the old ones to like the newer ones.
yeah.
It's like almost unfair because like the old ones were awesome for when they came out.
yeah. Well,
Because when they came out, there was no other like superhero universe stuff that was like that.
Except for Thor Dark World.
yeah.
Well, yeah, Thor Dark World
Well-
deserves everything that it gets thrown
See,
at it.
people say like, oh, they've been working on this for 30 years or 25 years or something. There was no way when they put out Iron Man 1, they were like, we're going to make this into a cinematic universe. They were like, we're going to put out comic book movies because they make money.
Well,
That's what it was.
I think they didn't think that until they saw how much money Iron Man made.
Yeah.
And as soon as they saw how much Iron Man made, they're like, we can milk this for.
But it wasn't like, let's do this thing where we bring them all together. It was like, oh, we did Iron Man, so let's make other superhero movies, which they've been doing for 50 years.
I think very early it started out like that, but it wasn't that long into those movies where they realized they were going to do like a big cohesive thing.
Because right at the end of Iron
maybe,
Man, they had the teaser for Hulk, and they started bringing it together pretty quick.
I guess once you're putting them out, you're like, well, in the comic books this happens, so we might as well make the movie. Okay, I take it back somewhat. But they're boring. They're fine to watch, but I'm not like, I don't need to go back. Like, I'll watch the newer ones because they're exciting.
Yeah, I haven't rewatched,
different.
I don't think any of the movies. Maybe I rewatched Infinity War. Maybe that's the one I rewatched because, I mean, it was really
it was great.
Cool and epic and whatever else. But I haven't gone back. There's just too much other content to consume.
Yeah, there's so much, like, do I need to see, like, I don't know, the Mandarin or whatever?
Oh, you know
like,
what? I've watched bits of Ragnarok again because that's a fun one.
Yeah,
Ragnarok's a lot of fun.
Yeah. So
have you been watching Ragnarok season 2?
I haven't started it yet.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, Elizabeth and I are finishing Mayor of Easttown on HBO, which is like really fucking depressing and gritty.
Exciting.
Yes, you should check it
That's a
out.
good one.
Yeah, because everyone's been talking about that. I
Yeah,
wanna
and then
check
we
that
have to do Ragnarok. I have to do Castlevania season 4.
I was watching the last episode of season 4 as Mike picked me up today. Yeah.
So let's talk about Loki.
Okay. Loki what?
Loki. It starts off in New York City, 2012. The same Avengers scene we've seen twice now.
Yeah.
From Endgame.
Yep.
And, you know, Loki picks up the Tesseract, disappears in a puff of smoke,
Yeah.
and then...
Same scene, literally same scene.
Yeah, they just clipped it from the movie because they weren't going to hire any of those actors for,
No.
for the same show.
Yeah, for this thing, they hired Owen Wilson and friggin' Loki, and they were like, that's good.
Wow.
But his he's great in that scene, like where he like sees the Tesseract slide across the floor and he looks around like, wait, what's going on?
Yeah. I think he's pretty good as Loki.
Yeah.
If he could have puffed away with the Tesseract like that, why didn't he just puff away in general and just get away?
I think the Tesseract gave him power or something, maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
Right? Like,
yeah, the Tesseract allowed him to do that. It's the space stones you can manipulate.
Oh, true.
So he reappears in the Gobi Desert of Mongolia, but is soon followed by the TVA, the Time Variance Authority.
Yep.
And, you know, they just kind of like come through these ethereal doors that appear out of nowhere. And he warns them to step back away from the Tesseract, but he gets clocked with this nightstick.
Yeah.
But it's like a time nightstick. And he moves at 1/16th speed.
I hated that line because it's like they had to explain it because they think we're idiots. She hits him with the time thing, and he slowly is like falling, and she's moving at normal. She's like, "You were moving at 1/16 your normal speed, but you were feeling this all in real time." I'm like, shut up! Like we can see what's happening. We see he's moving slow. We get it. You're from the time cops.
Admittedly, I didn't realize it until she came into the scene. Like I thought it was just like a slow-mo shot of him like being hurt and like his like jowls like moving back and forth. But then she came into the scene and I was like, oh,
she
the
walks
time
in.
stick.
Yeah. She doesn't have to say it. It felt so like patronizing. Like, here's what's happening right now.
Yeah, that's like the one issue with all of these shows because they have to cater to like such a broad audience
For like children and all
Yeah.
kinds of stuff. So,
But do you think kids are going to see that and be like, I don't understand it. I'm not watching it. No, they're going to be like, oh, cool, Loki got hit and he's fighting or whatever. Kids aren't
true.
going to like this show, right?
Yeah. So he's brought back through one of these doors to the TVA headquarters, and he tries to just run away, but he has some collar on, and so the agent just like presses a button on some remote.
it was the remote control from the movie Click. Starting Adam Sandler. It was the Click remote from Adam.
Oh my
the
God, it
whole
was the
plot
Click.
of this is just Click.
Just click.
Did you guys ever review that for Movie Beef Show?
No.
That would be a good one to rag on.
Yeah. The whole plot of this show is just Click.
I think we had a click reference in one of our D&D casting call episodes.
So she clicks the button, and he rewinds like back to where he was. He tries to run away again, clicks the button, rewinds.
Then he realizes he misses his children growing up, and
Now, whenever we talk about that thing, I'm just going to think of the remote control from Click.
Oh no, is this going to turn into a Click episode?
so click. Here's how it starts.
And then the agent like gives the Tesseract over to one of the employees, played by
Eugene
Cordero,
Cordero, yeah.
who's so fucking funny.
He was great in this.
Do you remember? I don't know if you listened to this episode of Comedy Bang Bang where he played Jazz, the original.
I think I've heard that.
That's the first episode I ever listened to of Comedy Bang Bang.
Oh, really?
And I just thought it was so hilarious.
Yeah, I love
especially Jazz.
Yeah.
So he like takes it. He's like, "What's this?" And he goes, "That's the Tesseract." And he goes, "Sounds dumb." And his like high pitched voice.
Yeah.
Then there's kind of like a montage of like him going through these waiting areas.
The robot thing was hysterical.
Yeah.
Where he was
They were
like,
fun. They were fun.
Yeah, where there's like a metal detector thing, and the guy's like, oh, he's like, have you, like, to your knowledge, are you like a robot? And he's like, well, no. He's like, do lots of people not know they're robots? And he's like, what happens if I was a robot and walked through this?
How do I not know?
Yeah, it melts you from the inside out. Now he's standing there. He's like, oh, shit. Am I a robot?
So finally he's in this waiting area that's showing like a looping video of like, 1950s cartoon style, like explaining what the TVA is.
Yeah.
And how these three ancient beings, the timekeepers, formed the TVA to stop anomalies from causing branching paths of the sacred timeline. Like there's supposed to be like one universal timeline.
Yeah.
Because if that happens, it could lead to another multiverse war that like ravaged the multiverse years ago.
And like the one poster in the background was like, pay attention to like the TVA, like security people, or get your clock cleaned.
Yeah.
I didn't see that. That's
Yeah, there were a
I
few
saw
like
that and I
posters
was
like the
laughing.
TVA is watching.
Did you notice
Yeah.
that Eugene Cordero's shirt had pen ink dripping into it? He had pens in his front pocket, and there was always like a blue thing of ink.
Oh, really?
Like his pen was leaking into his
Yeah.
shirt. I just thought it was a fun little detail
Yeah.
about his dumb character. Then we go to France 1549, where we meet Owen Wilson's character, Agent Mobius. And he's investigating the 6th attack of TVA agents this week.
And he goes, wow.
Yeah, what does this week mean?
What do you mean, like in the
In
the context
of like
In the context
out
of time.
Yeah, they're out of time.
And this little kid comes into the church, and Agent Mobius asks him who did this, and he simply points to a stained glass portrait of the devil. Also, the devil gave him some blueberry chewing gum.
Yeah.
and a cool like iPad looking thing that projects like a stick figure.
Oh yeah, Owen Wilson.
Oh,
gives them
yeah,
that,
yeah.
Which is whatever.
So Loki goes before some judge at TVA, and he's sentenced to be reset.
Yeah.
And he's arguing like the Avengers are the ones that move through time, and they're like,
Yeah.
no, that was supposed to happen. What you did wasn't supposed to.
This, I mean, I'll talk about it more at the end. This whole time shit was so dumb. It sucked. And time is, I did like, I don't know. They should have explained a little bit more, and I know they might explain more later, but like,
Yeah.
all the time stuff didn't make any sense. And I'll talk more about multiverse stuff at the end.
Okay,
Because I have
yeah.
a huge problem.
I have some notes on that too.
Yeah. But I don't know. It felt like, okay.
And so Mobius steps in as he's sentenced to be reset, and he has other plans for Loki.
Yeah.
And so he takes him down to this big room, and they sit across from each other, and Mobius pulls up footage from Loki's file. So like he starts to watch his past.
He starts to watch it, but what you actually mean is they show every clip that Loki has ever been in the entire MCU.
That was my biggest complaint, is that scene was too long.
It was like 20 minutes.
Yeah. And I don't know if maybe people that haven't seen the MCU are watching this and they need some more context about his character and background.
Maybe.
To me, who has seen everything, it felt long-winded.
Even
Well,
like
and then you learn that he's DB Cooper.
that was okay. I didn't mind that. But like even like the Dark Elf stuff, like I'm guessing that's from Thor 2. I haven't seen it, but I get it. Like he was doing stuff. I know Loki's, even if I saw one movie that Loki was in, I know he's been in other movies, and I know he's a scamp.
Right.
Like he's
Well, that's
Whatever.
that's the one thing that I did enjoy of Owen Wilson's things, because Loki's like, well, I'm the god of mischief, and he's like, you're not doing mischievous things. Like you just stabbed this guy's eyeball out. Like you're doing terrible things. Like this isn't mischievous.
Yeah.
You're just being an asshole.
Yeah.
Like,
So they show stuff from his past, and then eventually from his future, where he accidentally... Well, so his future as in this version of Loki's future,
Yeah.
which we've already seen, but he hasn't experienced yet.
Yeah.
yeah, if like his dad dying and
Right, and
all
him
that stuff.
accidentally having his mother killed.
Yeah.
Eventually, he's able to pickpocket the controller for his collar from Mobius, and he gets back to the offices where Eugene Cordero's character is.
Casey.
And he,
Yes,
his
yeah,
name.
yeah.
Yes, it's Casey.
yeah. I was like, excellent.
And he
What's a fish?
he threatens him for the Tesseract, or he's going to gut him like a fish.
Yeah.
He's like, "What's a fish?" He's like, "You don't know what a fish is?"
He's like, does it matter? He's like, well, I want to know what I'm being threatened with before I comply.
I want to do it.
And so he's like, "Okay, I'll comply. I'll give you the Tesseract." And he opens up this drawer, and it's just filled with Infinity Stones.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, some people use them as paperweights. We have a lot of them around here.
And so Loki's like kind of realizing, like, maybe it's true. Maybe this is like the most powerful group in the universe.
Yeah, he's not like this great. He's like his complaint was like he's not following some set path. He forges his own path.
Right.
And I was realizing like, oh, maybe that's not totally true.
Yeah, because he was like, oh, he went back in like the judge area. He was like, oh, he wanted to talk with the time people like God to God.
Yeah.
And now I think he's realizing like, oh shit, like I'm way below where they are.
Yeah.
And so he escapes back into this chamber where he was watching himself. And so he watches it again. He rewatches his mom die, and he starts to tear up as he fast forwards and sees like even more up-to-date stuff.
Yeah, like stuff we just saw.
Yeah, like Odin vanish and his reconciliation with Thor, all these future events, and then he sees his own death at the hands of Thanos, and then it just says end of file.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Mobius comes in to find him, and Loki kind of opens up a little bit, saying like, listen, I don't like hurting people. That hasn't been my goal. My goal has been to, get people to follow me. And the only way I knew how to do that was through fear.
This is so dumb. This sucks. Because it's like they're taking this like cool character, like, whether or not you like him, he's like a cool idea of like this mischievous guy who's trying to get power. And they're like, immediately they break him down into like he's been going to therapy for years. Like, we don't need this huge emotional breakthrough from fucking Loki, the god of mischief, and like...
No,
See,
but
I think you do if you're going to base an entire show around him and make people care about him that much.
But like, so we're going to get to like why they want his help to like catch this guy.
Sure.
So build that through the season where like, okay, he's like working right now for his own selfish desires. Like he wants to get home. So he's like helping them to get home, and he's like learning about himself. Not like, well,
Sure.
I guess I am. Here's the reason my mommy was mean to me. Like, come on, man.
I think the problem is because we've gotten to know Loki now through the whole MCU and seen like his redemption arc almost, where he's gotten that breakthrough of now going back to like 2012 Loki of him being an asshole.
Yeah.
It's like Bill said, trying to base a show off of that. I think the people that love Loki, like, cause he has a crazy cult following of people that love him.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'd get as much out of it just because people who've seen the redemption arc and are used to like the new nicer Loki.
Yeah,
And then going back like on his character
think
like
it
that.
felt lazy, though.
No, I agree. It feels lazy, but I also kind of understand why they're rushing it, so it's not. So they just get it out of the way.
You do famously love big companies putting their stink all over, all over like things we like.
I mean, they could have stretched it out a little bit. I agree, but I also think this worked as like a jolting emotional thing for him, watching his mom die and like seeing what happens and his own death.
Yeah.
But he's still going to do some mischievous shit.
I know.
He's still going to backstab people throughout the show.
Yeah,
It's still going to be there.
Sucked.
And so he agrees to help Mobius catch whoever's killing his agents. And Mobius reveals, it's you.
Yeah.
You're the one killing them.
Fucking so lazy, dude. Come on.
You don't know how it's going to play out yet.
Make it somebody else. I mean, it might not be him, but like, I don't know. It just felt like, okay, we already got Loki. Like, should we like bring in a new guy? Like, no, just make a different Loki.
Yeah, but won't it be fun?
It's already this show is already so lazy. Like
in the preview. Yeah, but in like the preview for the thing, they show like a bunch of different Lokis. Like if you saw the preview for it, like there's like a Mongolian style Loki, and there's like this style Loki. Like I think it might be fun like down the road to like have these Lokis fight each other.
Yeah, but this is clearly, there's like some time travel stuff. It's supposed to be like a fun show. There was so much just like slapsticky comedy in this.
Yeah.
I also know that it's like setting up the multiverse for the next Doctor Strange movie. So like, there's going to be multiple versions of people and like branching paths and all that other bullshit. So we go to Oklahoma in 1858. 4 agents show up and find some like futuristic looking staff in a field.
It's a shovel.
And there's some oil on the ground.
Yeah. I think they say it's from like 30, 40 or something.
Yeah, they say the 3rd millennia or something like that.
Yeah.
And so they're like, oh, somebody probably found a time machine in the future. They're trying to come back and get rich. Let's just get out of here.
Yeah, because they were digging up oil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they're about to leave when they see a figure in the dark, foggy distance. And the figure raises a lantern and tosses it into the oil slick and just lights up the whole TVA team.
Yeah. That's fun.
And that was the pilot to Loki.
Yeah.
What'd you guys think? Casey fucking hated it.
Oh, I did actually.
Did you really hate it?
I hated it.
Wow.
I thought I was going to enjoy it because I like Loki. I like him from Norse mythology more, I think. But, similar guy. So I was excited to watch this. Like, oh, let's see what he gets up to. And it just felt so fucking boring. Like, they had this, like, set of the TVA. I didn't find any of the stuff funny of him going through the stuff. Like, the robot thing was a little funny, but, like, that was the peak for me. And Eugene Cordero.
Yeah.
He was the only other character I liked. And Owen Wilson was fine. I guess that's, like, all the characters. But
So you liked all the characters of the show?
Every character, was okay.
I mean, there was, like, 3 characters, but... I don't know. It felt so boring, and like having him like watch his like past. Like I'm like, I don't need to see this.
It was boring. That part was boring.
Take him going through this thing, like going through all these like they take his clothes and they do this and that and like here's sign this. This is all the words you've ever spoken. Take all that. Take him watching the video. Make that a 5 to 10 minute montage. All of it.
Sure.
Make the show 30 minutes long. It did not need to be 50 minutes. It was so long. I genuinely don't understand. This has like a 9 on like IMDb and shit. Like this is super high rated.
The pilot episode?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, how? This was not good. And I'll save my multiverse talk, but I didn't find this enjoyable, which I was annoyed by.
I thought the signing everything you've ever said was funny too.
Yeah, I thought
Where
that
he's like
was funny,
sign this
too.
and he's like, what? And then another paper prints out and he's like, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
This is absurd. Another paper prints out. I mostly enjoyed it. I like time travel bullshit, even though this wasn't handled that well. We could talk about that in a minute. I do agree that the middle portion was a slog to get
Yes.
through. I don't know about 30 minutes, maybe 40 minutes instead of 50, but yeah, it was too long. It was too long.
Definitely too long.
Too many like, fucking clip show
That was-
vibes
yeah.
in the middle of it. But I mean, Tom Hiddleston is great. He's charismatic as Loki.
sure.
He's fun to watch. I don't have strong feelings about Owen Wilson either way. I think he's good in this role.
I like Owen Wilson, yeah.
Yeah. I think it'll be interesting to see how they mix, like, obviously they're going for comedic elements, like heavy comedic elements, with like a hopefully serious multiverse time travel storyline.
Yeah.
I have reservations about how they'll handle it, but that's my hope.
Yeah.
Is that it'll be a good mix of those two things.
Yeah, they might have whoever's like plotting out the whole MCU, like making sure that flows better than this pilot made it seem like it will.
Right,
Like, they'll
right.
be like, okay, no, it needs to go this way to make sense, even
Yeah.
if like, yeah.
Yeah. What'd you think, Mike?
I mean, so I don't like Loki as a character that much.
Okay.
So I went into the show thinking I was gonna hate it because I had no plans on watching the show in general because I don't like Loki as a MCU character. But then I watched it and I see what you guys are saying as far as like the slog and stuff in the middle. I'm hoping that was just like the pilot episode as like the backstory setup for everything.
Yeah.
I think
that
it was.
It's not going to continue that way.
But it's only 6 episodes.
Yeah, it's
You
only
can't
6
waste an
episodes.
episode. If it was 15 or even 12, you can waste an episode in the beginning. You can't waste it. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think what their concern is like Bill was saying before, of that they have such a large audience they have to cater to, that there might be some people watching it that haven't seen any of the MCU stuff, which would be strange to me that you jump in at this point to watch it when there's
Yeah.
so much content out there. But
Yeah. I've thought that the entire time because for all of these MCU shows on Disney Plus, like, I feel like they're assuming you know so much, but then like so many people watch WandaVision that never saw anything and enjoyed it.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know if the same is true for Captain America, but I know it definitely for WandaVision.
Yeah.
So I don't know if new audiences are
But for,
jumping into
like,
this.
that's the thing. It's like going into it like not expecting to like it, and then I don't know, being pleasantly surprised with how it turned out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a perfectly okay show from the first episode. I wouldn't rate it a 9 on IMDb.
Yeah, that I was like, holy
that's,
shit.
That's real high. Like I don't know. I'd give it like a 6.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair.
Six.
I might give it a 7.
Yeah, 6, 7. I that's probably about where I would go.
I'd go like
it's
3 or 4.
it's remarkably
3 or 4.
average.
I really didn't like
3 or
it.
4 is like all-time bad pilots.
No, 1 or 2.
That's
maybe.
like cop opera.
yeah. Nah,
But I mean, how else would you...
you want me to write the script for a new show right now?
No, but like for that slog in the middle, like assuming you are tasked with introducing new audiences to Loki and putting his character in context that people don't know, how do you do that without dumping a bunch of exposition, which he's not going to do to Owen Wilson? He's just not that character.
No.
So I think it made sense just for me personally, and like for other people that watched, it was probably a little bit much.
Yeah.
Okay, but you guys keep talking about like, oh, new people are watching it, new people are watching it. Fine, but wouldn't you rather like say, okay, you're making a show for the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Would you rather make a show that caters to people who haven't seen it, or make a show that caters more to people who have like seen it? And even people who haven't seen it, they're aware of who Loki is. Everyone knows who Loki is.
No, that's not true. That's not true.
Whether it's from the Marvel Cinematic Universe or Norse mythology, if you've never heard of that and you see a guy named Loki, who's the god of mischief, you're like, oh, I kind of know that guy. I know of that guy.
Sure.
So you're going to get it. And you're going to get, like, okay, he's done some mischiefy things. So we don't need, like, a friggin', like, a biography on him. Like I said, you need to take that and spread it out. Because then it's like, okay, introduce him to the character. We don't need to know, like, okay, he's this mischievous guy. Oh, but he has, like, some, like, tragic stuff in the past. And, oh, here's everything he's ever done. Spread that out. Make that his whole arc. Instead of, like, cramming it into the first episode.
Yeah, but I think if they spread it out and made the whole arc, I would be more frustrated with it. Because I'd be like, I know this whole thing. I know his whole story.
But this is a different story because this is a different Loki.
I'd rather have. Well, no, it's the same Loki.
No,
it's
not.
It's the same Loki that we've dealt with over this time. It's just an earlier version of him.
Yeah, but starting now, it's a different Loki.
Starting now, yeah.
Yeah, starting now. Because
Sure.
he even says, like, I can't go back to my time, can I? And,
right.
Which is, like, another thing, like, okay. Well, can we get into the multiverse
Yeah,
stuff?
go ahead.
Okay.
I know you're just fucking itching your arms
Okay.
to talk about multiverse.
So what the fuck are they talking about with this multiverse crap? Like, okay, number one, so there's this, they took this Loki out of time.
right.
It's already branching past. Fine, whatever.
Right.
They're not paying attention because they're stupid. Fine. They're saying, their whole thing is we're making sure that a multiverse doesn't happen. So they're saying there's only one timeline. There's been like 4 or 5 movies already that show that there is a multiverse. That's Ant-Man's whole thing, is that he goes into the quantum realm, and that's part of the multiverse.
Yeah.
And the last 2 Avengers movies were all about them like going to different timelines. That means there is a multiverse. There's different branching timelines because
Right.
different things happen.
Right.
Like we see this in the movies that there are different timelines. So what are they talking about? There's no multiverse.
Yeah, I made note of that too. Because, like, listen, I love time travel bullshit.
Yeah.
It's tough, I think, to do it in a way that makes it both approachable to people, but still complex enough to make it intriguing as a time travel story. And I right away I was like, because they show the multiverse, like, or all the timelines going into like one sacred timeline. I'm like, how you can't have that in this show?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
It really didn't make sense.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think that they're really gonna explain it that
I was gonna
well.
say that might be something that gets explained later on.
It
Maybe
won't
that's
be.
one of the twists later on.
I could probably even look past that if the rest of the time travel stuff makes sense and is cool.
Yeah.
I'll be like, whatever. It was a fun show.
Yeah,
but
yeah, that's
I did
true.
notice that. I was like, because they show them all coming back into just one line.
Yeah,
I'm
like,
no, that's
That's
not
literally
even
the
how things
premise
are
of,
now.
like,
Yeah.
that's the premise of like half the last like 10 movies were about time travel multiverse stuff. The only way this would work is if they reveal the Time Lords to be evil or something, where they're not actually keeping a single universe. They're just making sure
That they don't cross over the multiverses.
no, they're making sure the universes work out in the way they want them to. So
Okay.
like they're not keeping different universes apart, but they're like, okay, well, Loki can't do this because we need the Avengers to do this for our goal, not to keep the time sacred.
Hey, that
Because then it's
actually
all alive.
That could be.
You know it's not going to be
later
that.
on.
I'll
It could
bet-
be.
it wouldn't surprise me if they turn out to be bad.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't surprise me at all.
And then that would make sense.
Yeah.
If that happens, that makes sense.
Okay, all right.
If like the whole TVA is alive, everyone in the TVA is mistaken,
right.
or they're also lying. You know,
Sure. Yeah, they're
one or the
probably
other.
being
They're
manipulated by the
They're
time
either lying or
keepers.
they're being manipulated. If that happens, I'll be fine with it. I don't think they're going to be that smart in 5 more episodes, or 2,
Or
another season.
that might be the premise of the Doctor Strange movie.
It could be setting up the whole
God,
Doctor
they make
Strange
so
movie.
much stuff, man. I gotta watch 6 hours of fucking Loki now.
There's only 5 more left.
Oh yeah, 5 hours, I guess.
So you're not going to watch it?
I might. It's one of those shows I would not recommend, but I might want to watch it. Honestly, this might be one of those shows I give one more episode.
Okay.
Because like, okay, they did all this crap to bring in new audiences because Disney doesn't really care about anyone except money.
Right.
So they're like, oh, we can get more money, and if we make the first episode accessible, and then we'll make it crazier.
Yeah.
So I'll give it a try because maybe they did that. But like Disney, come on.
Yeah, if they finished all the expository stuff in this one and that like whatever middle part.
Yeah.
And from here on out, it's just like fun.
If it's fun, yeah.
Fun, Loki being Loki and
Yeah.
time travel stuff.
Yeah.
I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
Why don't you like Loki?
Yeah, what the fuck's your problem?
I don't know. I don't like Loki or Thor. I don't like that superheroes are just gods. Like
They're not
that's
gods,
the
though.
that's the dumbest thing ever. Thor's a god. He's the god of thunder.
Yeah, not in this world though.
But he's not a literal god.
In this world, he's like an
universe.
alien.
Well, yeah, but like it's just such lazy bullshit. Like of just
Oh,
being
yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, like just being like, oh, well, you know, this superhero is just Thor. And I'm
Oh,
like,
you just
well,
mean like the character
yeah,
in
like
general.
just the
Yeah.
character in general, just being like, oh, well, this superhero is now Thor. I'm like, well, that's dumb.
Yeah.
Like
All right, I
they,
get that.
they did the same thing like in DC. They're like, oh, well, Zeus is a super
Yeah,
is like
yeah.
a super villain. You're like, well, that's dumb. Like, so in this world, the
Yeah.
Greek mythology is a real thing.
But in comic books, they have every character. Like,
Well, yeah, like Dracula's a character
Yeah.
too, and I'm like, Dracula's dumb. This is dumb. You shouldn't have Dracula
they
as a
have
character.
Dracula as a character. Yeah, they have everything. Well, they've been around for like 70 years. They gotta like cram in. They gotta like. I mean, there's been like a million different comic books just from like
that's
DC
my
and
whole
Marvel.
thing. It's like look through like the Avengers, and you got like Iron Man, who's like just rich man who has like cool suits and stuff.
Yeah.
And then you have Captain America, who's just a guy who's like in really good shape.
Yeah.
And then you have a man who's literally just a Norse god, and it's like, well, how are you going to come up against anything that can beat the shit out of Thor? Like, you can't.
I think they do a good job keeping Thor out of like the piddly stuff.
Because
a
the
bunch.
past couple of movies, he just hasn't been there. That's how they've kept him
Well, he's
out
doing
of it.
his own thing. He's got to get his hammer back or the new axe or whatever. Like they have him
Yeah.
like they're smart enough to like keep him like away from like the like the Civil War. Like okay, he would just like crush whoever's head like if he needed to.
Right.
So you know they keep him away for that stuff. So I think they do it pretty well.
And then when he comes back, it's a fucking cool moment.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Like he comes back in Infinity War.
Yeah.
With the new weapon and the lightning strikes and it's cool.
I like that. That's like the one thing I liked about the new Zack Snyder movies when Superman comes back.
Oh really?
Yeah, 4-hour movie. I think I like 3 seconds of it. But that's the one thing, you know. You're like everyone's like fighting and like, oh, it's so hard. We're fighting this big guy, and then like boom, the Superman or Thor like pop in, like the god of this world like pops in and is like, I got this. Don't worry.
Yeah.
It's an exciting moment.
So, Casey, you don't recommend it.
I don't recommend it. I mean, if you're listening to this, you already know if you're gonna watch it.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know. I don't recommend it. So if you watch the first episode and you're like, oh yeah, it does suck, then you'd be like, okay, at least there's someone who has the same opinion as you. I'm giving you guys, anyone who likes Marvel stuff but doesn't like this, I'm giving you the out of, I also have that opinion.
I mean, I think this is a good
Or
one.
if you like it.
I think this is a good one to say, even if you didn't like the pilot, give the second episode a chance.
Yeah.
If you're on the fence, because the second episode I think will tell you if it's going to be slow, kind of sloggy,
This
just
felt-
like
yeah.
referential, or if they're going to move beyond that stuff, which I think they will.
Hopefully, yeah.
I'd say you gotta watch it. I mean, it's MCU. If you plan on seeing Doctor Strange or any of the shit that's coming up, it's gonna help you get a head start on understanding what the hell's gonna be going
Yeah,
on
but
in those
even
stuff.
even the show, your guys' big thing was like, oh, they're like giving it to like newer audiences, so they're not going to put out a Doctor Strange movie that they're going to be like, well, you had to have seen this or you don't get it.
That's true. Yeah.
They're going to make sure you get it. So I don't think, other than Infinity War being important for Endgame, I don't think you have to see any movie to see another one. Like they set it up. As long as you know what's happening,
Yeah.
you know that there are Avengers.
Yeah, I think the final two movies were probably the only caveat
Yeah.
to that.
Spider-Man: Far From Home, I'd say you'd probably need to see
I
the
mean,
first one to.
It all helps a little bit.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. It's going to help you a little bit to get into the next one. Like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not a necessity, but if you're watching all the movies, like you're going to watch the fucking show.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
And I mean, aside from all the complaints, it's a very well produced show. You know, Disney put a lot of money into it. It looks good. It's got charismatic characters.
it's part of the MCU. It's gonna be
as
decent.
long as there's no more boring chunks like there was in the first episode. I'm fine with it, and
Yeah.
I don't think there will be. At least not 20 minutes
No,
long.
it won't be that bad.
Yeah,
I'm just judging the pilot here.
I hear you.
If I come back for like the recap or whatever, you doing those this week yet?
We're gonna do one soon.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Um,
Are you gonna watch the 15 shows that
sure.
we've seen?
Why not? Yeah. I could see myself watching this if it gets better. Yeah, it was like well produced, but like they only had like that one set. I'm sure they had like 3 rooms. They had like the elevator room where he does like they take off his clothes and then he falls down into the elevator, which they just move stuff around, and they do it like 3 more times. There's like the one hallway, and then there's like the one room. It's like, you know, it's well produced, but it's because Disney knows how to spend their money.
Yeah, sure.
So it's not like whoa, look at all this stuff. It's like, oh, there's like 3 very sparse rooms with just harsh lighting that looks kind of like a bureaucratic 1950s building. It's not exciting though. And then they have like one scene where they show like the Timeland, quick 2-second green screen thing.
Yeah.
Like out the window.
Yeah, but
it didn't feel exciting.
You've got the scene in the church, and at the end,
They booked the church for one day to film in, and they booked
whatever.
and they booked a field for one day. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's bad.
listen, that field looked fucking good in the dark.
Yeah, exactly.
It did.
That was probably a set, to be honest.
Oh, I'm sure it was. I'm sure it was.
It was done well. It just wasn't exciting.
Sure, but I actually appreciated, even though they were in this 1950s vibe kind of office.
Yeah.
There were a lot of little details around that made it a little bit more fun if you're paying attention.
There were a lot of little...
the posters and
the poster.
The 1950s video and Eugene Cordero, all little details about him.
There was, on one of the forms that Owen Wilson gets, it has Loki, and it says, under gender, it says fluid. Which Disney was yeah, we put a gender fluid character, and they're oh, good, okay, cool. Which Loki is famously gender, gender fluid in quotes for Norse mythology.
Right.
He is male and female depending on your view. But yeah, so they did lots of little stuff which Disney does.
Yeah.
But I would have liked maybe more extras.
Yeah.
More people walking around. I think there was 10 actors in the show.
Well, you figure
extras.
they probably filmed it during COVID stuff going on.
I don't care about actors getting sick. I want good shows.
So they had to tone that back, I'm sure, a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Casey.
Okay. But I mean, they had in the scene where they're going in the line, that's funny, but was it for the joke, or was it because then you only have to get one extra, and that one guy who's been in some stuff.
Oh yeah. Who's bad in this?
Yeah, that was annoying.
He was only in it for a second.
Because I'm sure they were hey, say this line, and then he probably just said it, and they're good, next. All right, cut, we're done with this scene.
Keep it churning, keep it churning.
He's in for 3 seconds, he's out.
All right, you guys got anything to plug today?
Yeah, Mike, you got anything to plug?
I have nothing to plug.
Nothing to plug?
All right, everybody.
I got something to plug. Follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Casey the Moss King, where I, and also most of the time Mike, will play video games, have a grand old time. So go ahead and follow me there.
Casey the Moss King. You don't want to plug D&D Casting Call?
What's that? Yeah, listen to D&D Casting Call. We're going to record 4 or 5 or 6 episodes right now.
Billy's just now on our podcast. We're only going to record it when we come over here to record.
I honestly think
something else.
After today, we might have the same amount of episodes with Billy as without Billy.
Yeah, I think
or it's
so,
going to be close, or it's close enough now.
I'm the third co-host.
Yeah.
Just...
All right, everybody. If you have suggestions on shows for us to watch for Trial by Pilot, you could email us at trialbypilot.com. No, wait. trialbypilot@gmail.com. Or you can go onto Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Trial by Pilot. And you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, all those spots. Subscribe to the show, leave a review, and tell a friend.
And thanks to The Beats for providing the theme music.
Thanks, Beats.